separate webinar. I always say that we had a very modest beginning, and that beginning has led us to where we are today. We started in September because in August, during our women's webinar for E4 Impact, many of the women who logged in had only one request. That request was for capital. It is easy to have an idea. It is easy to start that idea. It's an entirely different matter finding capital. When you go beyond your family and your friends as sources of initial investment, it takes people like you and I sitting in this room to help them through to the next level. Online with us today, we have Elizabeth Yan, our winner from last month. I have also seen Kenyisile Malo on the line as well. It is remarkable that Kenyisile, with $500, was able to grow her business, increase her inventory. She makes bricks for a living, and she is operating in Manzini, Eswatini. Eswatini used to be called Swaziland. Kenyisile has gone ahead and increased the sales and also bought a second-hand truck to help to make deliveries to her customers. So with the little bit that we're able to give these women, a lot of magic is beginning to happen. That's why with leading ladies like say shine more light on how they can do business better is as we begin with Alessia. Alessia, would you like to tell us about yourself and what it is that you do?
Hello everyone. Again, it's a pleasure to be here. My name is Alessia Argiolas. I come from beautiful Italy. And I've always been passionate about entrepreneurship since from my university years. I used to join a group called Inactus, where we did worldwide. It's a worldwide project involving students from all over the world, and we used to develop entrepreneurial projects in our community. So my passion for entrepreneurship starts there. And currently, I decided I wanted to join academia as my career, because academia for me represents the way I can maintain an outsider perspective on entrepreneurial practices and processes and try to contribute.
So on my side, Alicia and I belong to a group of sister academics who are passionate about female entrepreneurship and working on several global projects to make it better for women who do business, especially in challenging economies. From Alessia, I'm going to swing over to my sister queen. Phyllis Johnson is sitting in Boston. In another life, Phyllis and I were classmates at Harvard Kennedy School, and her exceptional entrepreneurial experiences endeared her to
the boutique because of COVID. It was open after we left. I put somebody in charge, but they didn't allow the boutiques to open for such a long time that I just had to close it down. The festivals were cancelled, so many things were cancelled, so I gradually shifted to Guinea Conakry, which is where we are right now. I had to quickly learn how to continue the business, but online now. Through social media and online and websites and Instagram and TikTok and everything I could get my hands on, and it's been challenging. It was very scary at first, but I swear persistence has been the key word, and the willingness to be open-minded and learn how to use advertising skills, merge it with social media. No matter how old you are, you have to keep with the flow. Because COVID has shown us that physical offices is a dying trend and it's unstable. Anything can happen. So your presence on websites, online, social media, new media and electronic media is very, very dire. I've seen the importance of that. And I stumbled, I almost wanted to give up, but I persisted, and it has really paid off. I've seen that, I've learned a lot, and I've seen that the business is coming back, it's beginning to flow again. I'm beginning to adjust to this new online sales lifestyle. Okay.
Thank you. Thank you for sharing your. I have to put this question at Alessia. Alessia, I have noticed that in places where we can say there is tolerance, then women are better able to do business. Women of female-led businesses is a cultural thing. And do you think it's something that's peculiar to situations like?
Thank you for the beautiful question, Funke.
Right.
Complicated to think about related to a cultural dimension. I think that it's really widespread on occur that there is this dominant having some sort of violent culture that you may think like Europeans where we tend to think that these issues may not be so strong. I'd say it's not always true, and also like it's quite pervasive in every society, I think. So of course, in context like the one you were describing, it's much more exacerbated, and entrepreneurship is definitely a way to do something to overcome these barriers, like demonstrating that women can do good business as men can probably start to change the things little by little. And I also want to underline what Naka was saying about the persistence, and I think this is very related to the topic of tolerance and balance. So persistency and tolerance really go hand in hand, and this is something like a characteristic that is not very well studied in entrepreneurship, for example. Like coming from my academic background, I think we have lots of characteristics of entrepreneurs that are very well known and defined, and sometimes tolerance and persistence are not the most studied. And I think it's very interesting because we need to start to, there are some characteristics of women that can really contribute to understanding how entrepreneurship works and how we can do good businesses.
Fantastic. Thank you, Alessia. Phyllis, you do business with women on this side.
Yes.
Do you notice that many of those women are having to deal with some kind of unpleasantness outside of their businesses, and does this affect the performance of the business?
What's your person to talk to me?
Yes. Yes. When you ask that question, so many thoughts go through my head. And I also think about, when you talk about violence against women, if you are a woman that experienced violence and you're trying to start a business or be in business, it's very difficult. But also, if you're a woman who are blessed to not experience violence, sometimes the ability to want to make decisions can come really hard. And that inability, that restraint within you, could be rooted in violence that was passed down from previous generations. So, in examining my own life, as a woman in business, I often think about how hard it is for me to sometimes make just basic decisions. And I have to re-examine my history, and I know that my mother dealt with violence. when you talk about, when I think about women in Africa, and I had the pleasure to travel to different East African countries many times over the last 21 years, all I can think of is strength. All I can think of, Angel Chiza in Burundi, a woman who stands tall, and she would make a way out of no way. When you put women in situations where they have nothing yet to do but fight through it, they come through it, and they give you the best of what they have, and ultimately they end up teaching you. I felt very fortunate to be on this side of the equation when it comes to the coffee trade. I felt like a student. I remember years ago I was in I think it was Ethiopia, and literally just shaking the woman's hand brought tears to my eyes because of the physical load that she was carrying. I could not help but think, in my environment where I'm working with bankers and I'm working with trying to sell a product in this market, and the burdens that she carried, even if we didn't speak the same language, just her exemplary in her environment gave me strength to carry on. So yes, women, just not just in Africa, regardless as to where they are, but especially in Africa, carry burdens that are much greater than just running a business, right? So I'm truly blessed to just witness and to be empowered by their strength.
Thank you. Thank you for this. It's a very powerful example. Recently, I've had projects within the Maasai community, and it has led me to certain discoveries about culture and women doing business. One of the things that are primary to Maasai culture is the rearing of cattle. And so a lot of importance is placed on the cow, including the importance of using the cows to pay dowries, bride price. Now, the magical part of this is that in Maasai culture, the man owns the cow, but the woman owns the milk. The woman has no control over his decision to sell the cow or not, and she can only deal within that ecosystem of dairy. The culture also frowns upon subsistence farming, and so we find that women are constrained to do business with just the milk that we get. Now, within that constraint is where magic happens. And you find that Maasai women have made groups called chamas, where they are exploring all kinds of frugal innovation around dairy. We find that in this market in Kenya, we have milk ATMs. You can take your own jar and you can get fresh milk out of a milk ATM. In this market, we have solar-powered donkey-mountable tanks that collect milk from farm to farm and can be used for nomadic communities when they're on the move. And this collects the milk, keeps it refrigerated, and gets it to the creamery. So we find that within this constraint, women are doing a lot of business. Women are manufacturing yogurt from the milk. They're making maziwa mala. There's all kinds of SKUs now coming up just because of that one constraint. So what I don't own the cow, I'll make use of what I do own, which is the milk. So it's within such situations that the women of Africa are doing business and making giant strides in the spheres that they cover. So today, I expect that each one of us has been able to look at the women whom we are considering for today. First is Margaret Khadija, an elderly trader in Kibera, which is in Nairobi. Kibera has been said to be one of Africa's biggest slums, and out of it comes a lot of talent and great potential. I am honored to do a lot of work in that community, and I see a lot of love there, a lot of women who are doing their best to bring out positivity from the situations in which they find themselves. In that same community, Shiva Atieno is helping women who have been victims of violence. In the case of Margaret Khadija, she's asking for this basket of $500 to help her buy more inventory so that she can meet the demands of her customers. Her video includes testimonials from existing customers and from a member of her staff, a young woman who's worked with her for 5 years. Both women speak primarily in Kiswahili. The second video, that of Shiva Atieno, shows women who live in the house and who come there to learn how to get back on their own feet. So these women get taught skills and they're trained in ways to do business so that they can be independent and not lean on the men who have been violent with. So these are the two women that we will consider today, and each of these businesses is actually deserving of the basket. So our choices today are not choices because the other person was not good enough. It is usually because there's only so little money to give, and it only can go to one person. I have asked that Elizabeth Yan, who won last month's grant, be online with us today so that we can share with her advice and insights on how to grow her business better. Elizabeth will tell us about her exploits with groundnuts, we could call them peanuts, and with coconut. She lives in a village in Denu, Ghana, where these products are in excess supply. And so she has gone into value addition and produces certain brands that are on the market at her end. Elizabeth, do you want to take over from here and tell us about what it is you're doing?
Okay. Thank you, Funke. To be on the program, and greetings to all the wonderful women on the program. As Funke has, I was born and bred in Ghana, and I come from Denu. So currently, I stay in a village called Hachikope, and this is where my business is operating from. I'm going through all the challenges with the passion and determination to be able to add value, to be able to create opportunities for others to also benefit from. And I've been doing this for some time now. Trial and peanut paste. Apparently, in my community, we do a lot of farming. Even as now, as I speak with you on this program, I have a farm ongoing where I am now. And we do a lot of this farming, even in the house or in our own houses where we stay. You will see some coconut trees because we love them. And then you will see almost every house there is a coconut tree. And on lands and other places, that is a whole coconut plantation for some people. So from one of the villages called Agbuzrom. They have lots of coconut trees, lots of them. And then that was how come. One day I said, no, on the floor, and we packed them and they are there. And I know that there used to be, that was so long ago. I thought in my own way, can I do something? Because when I was growing up, I saw my mom and my can I do something? Because when I was growing up, I saw my mom and my grandmother do this coconut oil in the manual form. So they break the coconuts open and then they reminding it and then extracting the milk from it. So you keep the milk and the oil will come up on top. So you scoop it up and cook it in a pot or get that in the house, which we use for our personal cooking at home. So I thought, well, if I can also use this method, even though it's going to be hectic and cumbersome because it's going to be manual, I will try to see what I can do with it. So I buy some from others outside, and then I started the business. So initially, you will see that I was doing it all alone, at least with the help of people in the house. Somehow, I managed to produce the oil in some small quantity, and then I decided to market it. So I thought of great ways to make it happen. And so I came the idea of getting a nice, so I packaged it, I put nicely, and then it's screwed, and then I got a label so that and then at a point I thought business to have your own business. Oil. Decided to also produce the peanuts and make it into a paste nicely and put it in a small container and package it nicely. So that was how I got into the business in my own way, going through the manual process. And then I have one how it looks like for now, but hoping that I'll improve upon it and make it better as time on. So that is my business. And across the E for Impact program, and then I sent it. And fortunately, I got selected for the final. So I was on the program. And then it was great. I was happy. I didn't know what to say. And I was looking for where to unmute. Because I was taking an away. And all of you at the E for Impact. I've always been part of a wonderful group because it's been my dream to be an interseminal help and also to make it work for themselves. So
You're welcome, Elizabeth. The connection has been a bit wonky with the silence, but on the chat, I can see manual extraction of coconut oil. And this is a cross-generational business. So her grandmothers were extracting it manually, and now she's come to the point where she wants to get mechanical processes and packaging for her products. With what we've been able to give to Elizabeth, she's looking to hire more hands, increase inventory, and also buy some machines that will help to press the oil. I'm going to swivel back. Can you hear me now? Right. I'm going to swivel back to speak about the future of business after coronavirus. I know that it's hard to think about what to do after this pandemic. We don't even know where it's going to lead. So far, we have all been courageous in the ways that we have managed our families, our businesses, and we've been able to even help other women. I'm going to ask Neka, because I know that in spite of the challenges you've had in your own business, with others. How do you do?
Sorry, Funke, you're breaking up. Can you please repeat the last sentence?
I'm asking, how do you see your transition and your experiences helping other women to come over this bridge?
Well, there's a lot to learn because it's really vast. There's so many facets to it. The first facet that I would say is courage and confidence, because that's what kills a lot of businesses, even psychologically. When COVID started, it was so scary. Everybody was unsure of the future, and when your business comes into play and you have to shut down, it's really, everything looks really bleak. Psychological mindset. I think somebody mentioned earlier about the family affecting the business. It does affect your environment. A good structure helping you to protect you and nurture you, which sometimes comes from your family. Yeah.
You mentioned the family structure. One of the things that do, even if you don't speak the language, can feel the power of entrepreneurs, and you can now.
You're breaking up, sorry.
Nikita?
Yes.
Wendy would like you to mute your mic, actually.
Okay. All right. I can do that.
So one of the things that women have been able, society or culture puts in front of them. Now, doing this is one thing. Finding funding to water that dream and nurture it is quite a different matter. Phyllis, you're a woman who has vast experience with business. How do you think that our women can do better business internationally? How can they access business opportunities? How does someone who's growing coffee in rural Kenya, for example, get to do business with BDM? What do they need to do?
Wow, that's a big question. I after so many years in business, I believe that it is partnerships. It is through partnerships. And often women believe that they have to fight against the world, that they and partnerships. You mentioned within the constraints, magic happens, and that's true. And oftentimes, the constraint is because so much else has been taken. So it's really hard for us to see our businesses as partners, as see ourselves as partners. This moment that we're in, this COVID moment that we're in, it has taken a lot from us. But as you know, it's given us a lot. I would not have the opportunity to be on this call right now. And I think about it Saturday morning here in the U.S., and I'm getting to meet some incredible women from all over the world and to be inspired by their work. And, just hearing Elizabeth talk about her business just gave me life. So COVID has in a lot of ways leveled the playing field. But also I think as women entrepreneurs, we have to understand that at times when we're going through a struggle, it's important just to hold ground. We may not make advances, but just to hold steady, just to exist in that day and in that moment through this. And that's how, when I look back at my own company, I think about how has it been that we've been around for 21 years. For some of those years, we've just held ground. We haven't advanced. So when you ask the question about how do you do business on an international scale, I believe there are so many opportunities. There are so many more entrepreneurs like myself that are out here throughout the world who could consider coffee, consider, coconut oil, who consider the businesses that we're in. Because it takes the power of all of us, and we have to dream beyond what we know to dream of, and that's really hard, and it almost kind of seems impossible. But I think through partnerships, through others leveraging what they can do best. In the coffee trade, coffee was built on enslavement and colonization. Let's just call it what it is. And sometimes we don't like to embrace that part of it. But embracing that allows us to move forward. Embracing that has made me open my eyes to, where are Black Brazilians in coffee? Where are our sisters and brothers throughout the world who have been enslaved behind this product? So I think women open their eyes to different things because for various reasons, just based on who we are and because of the constraints, right? So I think that the pie is huge. There's many opportunities that are uncovered, that are out there. How do you do business, not just with my company, but just, like Elizabeth was saying, start looking for those ways in which you're already bent towards and finding the opportunities. It's not above you to create a global business. Who said you had to be a fifth generation, Procter & Gamble company to be an international company? It's not above you. You can be who you are and create an international business, doing it in the way that you, it works for you in your life and your customers. So I encourage you to explore and to consider ways to do things in the way that you can do them and use the tools that you've been blessed with to do them.
Thank you, Philip. As you were speaking, we were joined by Sandra Alonga. Hi, Sandra, welcome. You're still
Thank you so much, Funke.
You're welcome. I had spoken about you a little.
And nice to be here.
It's nice to have you. I had mentioned during the prelude segment that when you joined us, we will be speaking not only about violence against women who do business and animosity for the female-led businesses in some cases, but also about the fundamental rights of a woman to do business in whatever community or area she's working in. We mentioned the recently concluded fiasco with NSAS, which, as you know, was powered very strongly by women who were working behind the scenes to make sure that justice prevailed for all concerned. We have spoken about our experiences as women individually before you joined us. One of us, Neka, had a negative experience working out of Avignon in France and has had to move her business. She's migrated the business physically and virtually. Online, and she's also had to close the shop that she had in Avignon. Now, we have looked at all of these experiences in the background of the fact that one of our candidates today, Margaret Khadija, has had to rebuild her business 2 or 3 times from scratch. What is called accidental fires are often thrown into markets where these women then lose their sources of living and have to come back and rebuild their stores and start again. So this is what we're looking at today. We have talked about business as women. We've talked about business ownership in the cultural context. And I would like you to throw some light based on what you do, on not only as an entrepreneur, but also as a human rights lawyer. How can women stand better against violence or just plain animosity in businesses?
Yes. Okay, well, thank you so much, Funke. Well, I have to say that just by giving this introduction, it just brings so many ideas up in my mind, not just, of course, on the work that I'm doing, but also on I think my personal experience and the way my career has developed through the years, and why I ended up taking certain decisions. So just a very brief introduction. My name is Sandra. I'm at I work in Nigeria. I'm from Belgium. I work for the German Development Agency. I'm running a big program on employment promotion for young Nigerians, including unemployed, underemployed, vulnerable groups, IDPs, women that have been trafficked, returning migrants. The vast majority of the people that go through the program are underemployed youth. That's 80% of those benefiting from the program. And just to give you an idea, this year we've trained 17,000 young people here, helping them to improve their livelihoods, to set up their own business, or just to develop skills so that they can find gainful employment. Also looking at opportunities for them, not just to survive, but to look at niche activities that will allow them to actually make more money than they are doing right now. And in that context, we find that we have to go the extra mile to make sure that our programs provide the same kind of support for women as they do for men. And when I mean that a lot of young women have small children. If there's no provision for childcare, then they will not be able to attend the trainings. They tend to there's a real need to look at behavioral patterns during the trainings to ensure that there's no aggression, that there's no exploitation, that there's no violence during the training. So that's a very important aspect also of the pedagogical approach. Then besides that, we of course, I mean, we all know that there are some professions that are, very female dominated. We offer also trainings for women, exclusively for women in male dominated professions. So basically positive discrimination for women in those trainings, so that they also feel confident about learning those new skills. For example, there's the training on auto mechanics. We also provide counseling specifically by women for women, and we also do have mentoring programs. So I think that's yes. So that's the way my project is being implemented here in Nigeria. I think that we see a lot of, in terms of outcomes, we see that we just did a survey of 1,000 people to do better than the men. They tend to do better in terms of managing their companies, their small businesses. They tend to do better in terms of employing others, so empowering others. They tend to do better in terms of mentoring. So I think even this very small sample of that's included in the survey shows that confirms what we all know, that once you empower a woman, she actually, she will thrive. And I think that's it's fantastic to be able to contribute to such positive developments, even if, of course, they're at a very at a much smaller scale than what is actually really required. Because what is required is what the NSARS movement was exposing. I mean, it's not just about ending violence, ending police violence, ending corruption, but I think there's a need for systemic change, that gives people the opportunity to actually realize their full potential. And before working on this project here in Nigeria, I spent almost 10 years working for the international trade union movement, working with women's movements all around the world, campaigning for access to health, campaigning for access to education, to ending violence at the workplace, and I would say that better public services for everybody, and that has really helped me to, I think, to meet so many inspiring women leaders, and seeing also from very close by how difficult sometimes it is to be a woman in leadership, because sometimes you cannot ignore the fact that women are in leadership have an even more difficult time to really to keep on going, because the opposition, because of the fact that you're not pursuing the right objectives, not because you're not pursuing working with along the right guidelines, or that you don't have you're building a network, everything is in principle is going well, but the fact that you are a woman at one of my former jobs that I ended up being so bullied. Some of my colleagues at the end, I changed and I left. And afterwards, for years, I've been thinking about that experience, about how, in the end, was that really the right decision? Was that the right decision? And why did I behave? And just always thought that, okay, I'm just going to show that I'm the best. I will show that I can handle everything. This will become irrelevant. But unfortunately, that's not the case. So what I have done, I think that I speak up when I see these kind of situations, and I also support other women who are being bullied. And I can assure you, I will never ever accept something like that to happen to me or to people around me. So yeah, I think for women to succeed, it's about creating environments that that allows for that success, just to take off. Recognizing that there are hurdles, and for being together, working together, and I think being stronger as a united, female front. So, thank you.
Thank you so much, Sandra. Thank you for that. We needed to hear that from an expert in that field. So, like Wendy likes to remind me, we are very short on time. We never quite have enough time for these conversations, right, Wendy? So now we are at that point where we need to decide which of these ladies will get the basket of $500. And I'm going to begin this session with Alicia. Alicia, you have seen both of the mamas on our list today. Who do you give the basket to?
It's really a super difficult decision. I'm sorry I'm the first, but it's okay, I will do that. So, really both of them are doing amazing things, and I am sure they are both great role models for their communities. Margaret for the family and for the employees, and sorry, I can't pronounce the name of the second one, Dr. Shiba. Right, Shiba? Sorry. She for sure is being extremely precious for all the women she's helping. So, because today we've been talking a lot about perseverance and being able to succeed inside very strict boundaries and conditions, I think that what Margaret has done in these months, like building again her shops after the fires and being able to deal with all the COVID situation and having 8 children, I think she's really representing this capacity of being resilient and persistent. And also I very like her approach of explaining why she needs this money, so that she's going to buy inventory. And unfortunately, we don't have many information to take a very I feel this is my decision. My vote goes for Margaret.
And there we have the first one for Margaret. I'm going to swing over to Phyllis. Phyllis, who gets the basket today?
I have a clarifying question, Funke. Was there a video for Dr. Shiba?
Yes, there was.
Oh, okay. I'm sorry. I will go back to watch that. I did not see that. I did see Margaret's video. They are both very deserving. I see this so interconnected because, as Sandra was saying, the women, whether it's business or through direct interventions, they are going to help change lives. They're going to be better mentors. It really is a hard decision, and I was heartbroken to think that we had to choose one. But this is your program, and how if it were me, I'd try to find a way to give both of them the award, because they are so
and that's why you have Sister Ehia Washes on the line and Suleiman, both. It was made possible by Jeddah, one of the panelists who was on in September. So yes, we do have that dilemma. Once in a while we do.
I'm gonna cast my vote for Dr. Sheba.
Thank you, Phyllis. Here we are, one for Dr. Sheba and one for Margaret Khadija. Nikita, who gets the basket today?
Yeah, as they've said already, it's difficult, and they both deserve it. I definitely know what it feels like to have to restart your business over and over. It's so difficult. But I'm going to tend to go with Dr. Sheba, because she takes care of women who are victims of violence, and definitely she's going to need a lot, and a lot of that reach to be able to reach more women, especially women who have been violated or abused. It's an area that's not well explored, especially in Africa, and a lot of people need more help in that area. So definitely, I think I'll go with Dr. Sheba.
Sorry, pardon. Thank you, Nikita.
Sandra, it's your turn.
Both women, as we agree, are deserving of it. Which one of them should get the basket today? Sandra. Oh, Margaret, I see the response right there. There's a raised hand. Ladies, as it often happens, we have almost a tie. And so we have 2 votes cast for Margaret and 2 votes cast for Dr. Sheba. Because our 5th panelist, Rosalind Wanjiru of Pesabase, was unable to join us today, I am going to request that Elizabeth Yan, who was our winner from last month, make the deciding vote this time. So Elizabeth, who gets the basket for today?
Well, thank you, Funke, and as everyone has said on the program of the baskets. So for me, from the stories or from the narrations that I heard, well, it's a difficult one, but I think I'll go for Margaret. I don't know, but that's what I think. Thank you.
Thank you. And that decides it. We say in Yoruba, Abajo Wola Finsoya. It means that we beat our chest with a hand that is together. So when we have 5 women together and a decision is made, we carry that decision forward and we support the woman. For this episode, we will give $500 to Margaret Khadija to get inventory for her shop in Kibera, Nairobi. Thank you very much, ladies. Now, Wendy says it's pictures. This is the point to show your video and give us your best smile so that we can share this on our page. I was about to say, Sandra, where did you go? Whenever you're ready, Wendy.
I'm here, but somehow I don't know. I've never used this program. I think I'm clicking on the wrong buttons. Sorry.
There you are. When did you have us now?
Give me 1 second, please. My system seems to have a mind of its own for 2 minutes. So give me a second. I want to make sure I'm grabbing everybody's wonderful face.
It's going to cost a
And
little
nobody's
bit
going to my time. Well, it's all right. I can afford you. Thank you very much, everybody. I believe I have captured everybody's pictures. It's been a pleasure speaking with all of you, and it's been a pleasure hearing your wonderful thoughts, stories, and understanding and sharing your knowledge.
Thank you so much. Again, we try to finish on the dot of 5. Today we have gone over by 5 precious minutes, and I would say each one of those minutes has been worth it. So ladies, thank you again for walking the journey with us. Thank you for the insight, thank you for the experiences. I look forward to having more of these conversations, and I do welcome your feedback and your input. The women that we help here are continuously growing. We hope that when you find entrepreneurship opportunities that will benefit them, you'll remember them and you'll get in touch. Thank you so much for doing this. I wish you a beautiful weekend ahead, and I look forward to speaking with you again.
Thank you, Funke. Thank you, everyone.
Thank you so much.
Thank you.
Thank you so much.
Thank you. Take care.
Thank you, Funke. Bye.